Hey, welcome back to your favourite motherfucking podcast, The Vault of Cult.
Yeah.
We're your host, Chris, and I've got my mon frere extraordinaire.
Hi, it's Mark. You alright, guys?
It's Mark. It's always Mark,
Yeah.
You know that, guys.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it is always
It
me.
is.
And to good.
I don't mean that disappointing. I'm not disappointed.
It's
It's sounding like I'm really fucking disappointed.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
We're doing a show.
We are doing a show. We're back. We have been missing you.
As our Americans cousins say, it's been a minute. Been more than that, but...
It's been many minutes.
Many minutes.
But,
months in fact.
Yes, months and months.
Listen, it's fine.
Yeah, and we know we thanks for all the listens. We're getting plenty of listens.
Yeah, we enjoy the support. You know, again, guys, we used to say it all the time, and we kind of not really said it for a while, but we really, really do appreciate all the listens, all the comments, the shares, the likes. You know, again, just the listens and the support. We really appreciate it. And you know, get us online. You know, we're on Gmail, thevaultofcult@gmail.com, at the Vault of Cult on that there Instagram. You know, you can leave comments on Spotify now, you know. Always to interact.
There are a myriad of options to tell us what you think of how you like. Yeah, of what you like about it and maybe what you don't like about it.
Might not like us.
Yeah.
They keep coming back though. We've got,
they keep coming back.
You know, around the world, worldwide.
But yeah, as you can probably tell, we're coming to the end of this season. I know that it's been a season of years, but coming to the end of it. So, guys, if you have any ideas, if you have any thoughts, what would you'd like to hear from it?
We've got some specials coming up as well.
We have got some specials
in between seasons. We've got the next season planned, guys. But we're going to throw a few specials out there that we've been talking about for a while. These like one-off episodes, and like we did for the first time, guys. We're going to do like a series. We're going to do like a series based on a series of films.
Yeah, we'll make an announcement to be announced. More to be announced.
TBC.
But what we're trying to say is
HIV,
that
not
that one. Not that one.
The bad AIDS.
But we're really looking forward because we've got great stuff to give you in the future.
We always do, though.
No, I know.
We always do.
I know.
This is what they expect. They expect this kind of high quality from.
It is high quality. It's not just wittering. No. It's high quality stuff. Well, it's a lot of wittering.
A lot of that, but it's all about wittering about really good stuff.
Yeah. So, Christine, what are we doing today?
So this episode we'll be discussing the 1986 musical. Yes. Musical, our very first one.
This is the first musical that we've ever done.
The first one. It's Little Shop of Horrors.
Nice, cult classic.
Is it though?
Is it though? Let's dig deep.
Let's.
All right then.
So, Mark, Little Shop of Horrors from 1986, our first musical.
Our first musical. I do find it. I can't believe we've gone this far without doing a musical.
It's because I don't like them.
He doesn't like them. Right. We'll get this out of the way now. I'm a big musical fan. What? The gay boy likes the musicals? No. Yeah, well, not...
See, cliche, this cliche.
To be a cliche, but I do like them. But, yeah, right. So, we'll get its financials and get a couple of facts out of the way. Came out December the 19th, 1986.
December,
weird. The whole thing about where it came out and its money is quite weird. It cost 25 million quid. Did this?
Right, I know we're getting ahead here, but that was Warner Brothers' most expensive film they ever made at that time.
And at that time, in 1986, that's bare peas.
Yeah.
That's money.
Yeah.
Is that 25 million quid? It made 39 million quid. I love how we made sense sound there.
I can't wait to hear that back and see how harmonised that sounds.
So it's a bit of a. It's not a flop. It's made money. It has made money, but just over 10 million.
Does that have some correlations with the time of year it come out?
Well, I think so.
Must have.
I think so because.
But when would you throw a musical out? It's not, you know.
Well, a musical that is
New
Well,
Year,
we'll
innit?
get
Yeah.
we'll get into its musicalness because it's a very interesting film, because they weren't making musicals.
No,
back then.
no, I know. We'll get onto that. I've got something to say about that.
But here's what it made. It made 39 million, and that's overall for Love Nor Money, for the Passion of Christ itself. For looking, I couldn't find a realistic breakdown of domestic and international. Right, and first time I'm going to name a website, IMDb said it only made 735 quid internationally, and I thought, bullshit.
Do you know what? No, because I was just about to say, I'm betting that's just domestic, that.
Yeah, I think that's just its domestic figures.
Got to be.
It's got to only be its domestic figures, because I know it didn't come out in the UK until 1987, until the end of January 1987 it came out, and I presume
January film.
It's a January film, and I refuse to believe it only made 800 quid.
No, because don't forget Rick Moranis. He wasn't an AA star.
No, I know, but it's not like this film didn't have
Bill Murray, Steve Martin, John Kander.
It had the draws. It's very strange, and that's the thing. Strange time of year.
I've got an idea. Right, I'll get onto this in a bit, but I think it's because films like The Blues Brothers had musical people in a musical film, whereas this has none.
Yes,
apart from one. The voice of there is.
Well, and who plays Audrey? She played the part. We'll get onto the characters, but yes, very, very, very strange time of year. Strange that they're not giving us the figures of how much it made internationally. Or at least I couldn't find. Write into us, listeners. How much did it make overseas?
I couldn't find them either. You see,
couldn't find them. But shall I say I made a very perfunctory Google, and I got annoyed and went, "Oh."
You get annoyed at doing something that's difficult.
I know, and so I didn't do a deep dive. If someone's got more patience than me to do a deep dive, do write in, listeners, and tell us how much. But
I'm pretty sure that must be
domestic, mate. It's got to be. But it was enough for it to be considered not a disappointment, but for the studio to get his pet lip about it a little bit.
Listen, it's wiped its face on it.
Yeah, and so studio's gone, stick it on video, then someone will buy it on video, and fucking did they buy it on video?
Do you know what? Actually, that's really. I think we might have to start adding in on the whole video sales and stuff.
Sales. Top tip, because we should really.
We should. That'd be really interesting.
Yeah, especially for a thing that's about cult films. Yeah, we really should have been doing that from the beginning. Really,
I didn't even think until
now. I didn't even think about it either.
So this is live.
It's live brainstorming. They're sat there thinking, "Fuck me! I'm here to listen to an actual sophisticated podcast, not these two spitting ideas back and forth."
Wrong place.
Wrong place altogether. Wrong place altogether.
Listen, if you don't know me by now. Why's your pen behind your ear?
I
like it.
I don't know. I look sophisticated.
A little bit. Carry on. I like it.
I know you normally do the who did what with who, but I just want to point out that the screenplay and the music were done by two fellas called Howard Ashman and Alan Menken.
Seen them before.
You have seen them before, and they will come across these two. I just wanted to point out now, but we'll discuss them musically in a little bit. Mm-hmm. They are this generation's Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Yes.
That's what they single-handedly saved the idea of a movie musical, a film musical for the next generation, because it were dead on its arse. And these two, it can't be single-handedly if there's two of them, can it? Dual-handedly saved the idea of a movie musical, and they did that because after this they will go on to great heights at the Disney, at Walt Disney.
Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, and Aladdin. Bang, bang, bang. That.
And then Howard Ashman would sadly die of HIV in the early 90s, of AIDS, beg your pardon.
AIDS.
Yeah.
Listen, if you get that.
Especially back.
He should have had them tablets you can get.
It does have the tablets. Take your prep, guys. But
seriously,
on a
please.
serious point,
Serious
take
note,
your prep.
take your prep. If that, you know, if you're a gay man and you can get access to this medicine, that
Take your prep.
that could save your life, please take it, guys.
But yeah, so that's its financial. So I know I mentioned the screenwriter and the songwriter there, but who did what with who?
Right. Okay. Well. So I think we should start on it. It's actually based on a. It's based on. They made a film in 1960. This really low budget. Roger Corman, God rest his soul, has just recently passed away.
Yeah.
Uber producer of many genre films. God rest his bloody soul. He made a film called Little Shop of Horrors, and then what spun off that? That's an old black and white film, guys. I didn't research it. Can't be bothered.
I know one fact about it, but I'm going to tell you during my fun facts.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then they for some reason they decided that would be an interesting subject to turn into a musical, and hence the film what we're talking about today is based on the musical based on the 1960 film.
Yeah.
Get it? You remember?
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
good.
Can you follow the timeline, viewers?
Please do. Right, so it was actually produced by David Geffen, a very, very famous record label owner.
Yeah.
Nirvana was part of his crew. So Geffen, yeah.
But
he also produced Beetlejuice and Risky Business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, Risky Business, the one where Tom Cruise is a cunt, but he's not a cunt, but he's still a cunt. Yeah. He's the one where he dances around in his socks. With Rebecca. With our mate.
With our mate. What's his fucking
Bob
face?
Seger.
Bob Seger.
Oh, one of our. That's me and Mark.
We like a bit of Night Moves.
We do. That's our song. That's our song. Night Moves is our song by Bob Seger. Directed by Frank Oz. So he had a lot of
puppet work.
Yeah,
he worked a lot with Jim Henson.
Dark Crystal directed
Dark Crystal.
Directed a gay In and Out with the gays about the gays. I'm not gay, but I am.
Yeah,
that's that in it. Kevin Kline.
Kevin Kline.
And what? Sorry, go on.
A film called I'm only mentioning this because I had it on video.
I want you to say it.
Right, Indian in the Cupboard. We had it. It's not that one.
It's not that one.
It's not that. I know the one that you're going to say, but right. It's clever little film. The way that it flips between natural person playing and a
I remember that. I've never seen it. I remember that.
It's boring as fuck.
Oh, fuck,
Don't watch it. But
I remember
it's so boring. And my mum used to put it on all the time, thinking that I'd like it. And I'm like, it's shit. This don't put it. I don't want to watch it.
You want to watch The Champ again?
Yeah. Oh, shut up. So anyway, say the film.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Yeah.
Love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good
it's
film.
Silly, but I love it. And if you've never heard of it or not seen it, go and see Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. It's is it what's she called? Shelley Winters.
Yeah.
Michael Caine.
Yeah.
And
anything with
Steve
Michael Caine.
Yeah,
anything with 100%. Michael Caine.
It's a comedy. It's great. It's great.
But yeah.
So again, like you say, the screenplay, the writer Howard Ashman. Yeah, he went on to Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, just smashed it. And there's a lot of. I think there's a lot of Disney style. The music.
It's why they got the job.
Yes,
it's why they got the job. And there's one particular song in this film which, if you listen to that, you'll immediately hear that's where they got the idea for a particular song in The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, and it actually is very. They've just changed the lyrics. They've kept the same.
It's a similar. Get the vamp up to it. It's very similar. It's very similar.
Cinematography by a guy called Robert Painter, who was a cinematographer on Superman 2, American Way Off in London, and Trading Places. What a fucking film Trading Places is. Jamie Lee Curtis gets her tits out in it. True story. True story. True story. Yeah.
I'm always there for a bit of Jamie Lee.
100%.
She's a great actress.
100%. But again, the cinematography isn't necessarily anything to write home about in this film.
No.
And actually the score was by Myle Goodman. He did Teen Wolf, La Bamba, and also Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, great film. And the songs by Alan Menken, like you say, and they did it again. He Pocahontas and Hercules.
Yeah,
bang, 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 bang.
It's good. Alan Menken in particular is a great musical songwriter. He understands what is meant to be achieved with a musical song, because a musical song is different.
It's not a song. It's not like a pop song.
It's not a pop song.
It's totally different.
It's not like a pop song, and he knows that. And Howard Ashman, who was doing a lot of the lyrical work for it, he understands what it's for. He's basically the person who revived the "I Want" song in a musical.
Yeah, right. Not to get ahead again.
We always do this.
No, I know. They know. Again, they do know. So, let me just say right now: is there too many songs in this film?
Yeah, at least 4 too many songs. Wow. I thought to myself,
wow,
in an hour and a half, in an hour and a half film. Oh yeah, that's the thing. It's only 94 minutes long.
Well,
easy peasy lemon breezy.
Well, let's get this out of the way right now before I get onto the too many songs argument. There's 2 versions of this film available. There is the theatrical version,
which is the one that I watched,
and there is a director's cut version, which is the one I watched, and they have 2 completely different endings.
Totally different.
We'll get onto that,
but totally different.
But too many songs.
Far too many songs. You're not letting them breathe at all.
No, don't. It's literally one after the other.
One after the other. Bang, bang, bang. And I do understand. I understand in a musical that you do have to keep it whopping forward with the music, but it felt like
there isn't.
Yeah, but I feel like they went too far. It could have got at least 3 or 4 songs.
Rein it in. Reel it in, sunshine. Right, the cast. Rick Moranis plays Seymour Krelborn. Obviously, everyone knows him from Ghostbusters as Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
3 films we've done with Rick Moranis, then.
This is true.
Honey,
I Shrunk the Kids, Ghostbusters. Ellen Greens plays Audrey.
She, just to point out to viewers,
listeners,
yeah, unless you're watching,
creepy cunt.
She played this part on Broadway.
The only character in the film to do that.
Yeah. So she's the one who they were just like, oh, just get the girl. Yeah.
Vincent Gardenia plays Mr. Mushnick, who owns the shop.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in Death Wish 2 and Moonstruck with our share.
Cher.
She won Oscar for that. Steve Martin is a little part of her boyfriend. He plays Orin.
Mad.
Obviously, everyone knows him from Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and Planes and Trains and Automobiles. Mm-hmm. Levi Stubbs, who's this is where the musical connection is from. The group. The vocalist group, Four Tops.
Yeah, he's one of the Four Tops.
And I don't know which one is he though. Was he 1, 2, 3 or 4?
4.
I wouldn't want to be number 2.
I wouldn't want to be number 2.
He's the voice of Audrey.
Audrey 2.
The sequel.
Yeah.
He's fucking excellent in it.
Excellent. Great voice work in that.
John Candy plays the radio DJ. He's in it for about 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Christopher Guest, who plays the guy who comes into the shop.
Yeah.
He's Christopher Guest, guys. He's like well known for comedy work. Bill Murray plays a sadistic fucking dentist visitor.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
he wants to be amused. He enjoys the pain. He's in it for about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Did you notice also Danny John Jules from that there Red Dwarf on BBC?
No, where?
Do you know at the very beginning when he's telling the story of how he found Audrey?
Oh yeah.
And then you've got them like 4 guys at the lamppost singing.
Oh yeah.
He's right at the end.
Yeah,
it's him there. He's right next to Rick Moranis. He's Cap from Red Dwarf.
I didn't even notice. Hey, work. Go on.
Listen,
it's nice.
And that was in 1986.
Mm.
So that's the main kind of me. That's the main cast. That's pretty much it. And then the girl singers, but I didn't write them down.
They're what you call, in a musical, they're what you call a Greek chorus.
I couldn't think, when I was watching it and writing my notes, that's what I couldn't think.
They're
the ones telling the story and pushing it forward.
They sing the song and basically it's called a Greek chorus because in a Greek tragedy, the muses.
Couldn't think of that motherfucker.
The muses would come on to who are obviously the
The narrator.
Yeah, the narrator, being the goddesses of the arts and proclaimers of heroes. If you watch Hercules,
Bit wordy.
Yeah. And they would come and push the story along and say, well, after Hercules did this, blah 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 blah, and it's a trope that's very often used in musicals.
I knew you'd knew what that was. I knew it, and I couldn't think of it.
Very very often used in musicals. That it's part of the chorus would sing them into the next scene. So that's what they are, and they were based. I haven't written down the band because they were based after they were named. They do have names.
They do. Yeah, the credits at the end. Yeah, just say the names of the characters.
I haven't written them down.
No, I've not.
But they're named after. Each one of them is named after a famous girl group, like black female girl group from the 60s.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's giving out that vibe. That's their.
One of them is not called the Supremes, but that kind of vibe, like the Supremes and
like the Vandellas and the blah 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 blah. All these black girl groups.
Yeah,
excellent girl groups.
Yeah, excellent.
So again, the plot of the film.
Yes, go on.
So I mean, right. So this gossip. It's like so again. Anyway, I know we keep saying it, get ahead of ourselves, but we're just throwing it in there, right? This is just what we do. So, for me, there's very, 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 very little going on in this movie.
There's very little
plot-wise.
Gossamer thing.
So the Gossamer thing plot literally is the film which centres on a floral shop worker who discovers a sentient carnivorous plant that feeds on human blood. That's about it, boys and girls.
Yeah, and he feeds someone to it.
That's about it. He's got to just this plant.
Yeah,
he's got to feed.
There's not
blood.
a lot going on.
He's off blood. There's fuck all in it. I literally was sat there watching it, and when it was coming to the end of it, I thought, not much happens in this film. There's not much going on here.
No. Almost nothing goes on.
And I think that is why, again, not to way get ahead of myself. I think that is why it isn't regarded. It's not in the category of like these subversive musicals like Blues Brothers and Rocky Horror Show, who have a constant, who's like a big following.
And to be honest, Cabaret to an extent as well, but like
our Liza,
our Liza. It's not considered one of those,
and I can see why.
Yeah, it's because there is not a lot going on.
No,
that we've spent so much time on the music that we haven't thought about the story.
No,
at all.
Clearly,
and there are a couple of songs where I am getting ahead of myself. Where this doesn't actually push the plot forward anymore, and
it's characters talking about how they feel, then singing about how they feel,
and that is surprising from Howard Ashman because he was the big proponent of when you sing, you push what a song in a musical should do is push the plot along.
And you get in that, and you can see where they went into Disney, where they expanded that.
A song in a good Disney film will push the plot along.
Well, this is almost one of my notes I've put here. I've said it almost reminds me of like a dark fairy tale. Anyway,
yes,
it has that running through it.
Right, so shall I do a fun facts to have fun with, and then we'll get into some analysis, because we were just about to bite off the
come on.
Right, so considered a bit of a disappointment by the studio, but made up for it in video sales massively. And we've done that. There was an original ending which is much more dark, much more...
Which is the one I've seen.
And we'll talk about that. Remake of a low-budget film, but here's the fun fact. The low-budget 1960s film starred a young Jack Nicholson.
True.
A young Jack Nicholson, and he was playing the part that Bill Murray plays in it.
The dentist.
The guy who visits the dentist because he likes the pain.
Oh.
Because he likes the pain. So that's a young Jack Nicholson in there.
There were 6 versions of Orgy 2 made.
There was 6. But that puppet, especially the larger one, needed up to 60 technicians, and you can see why. You can see why.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
Even nearly 40 years later, that puppet / animatronic is fucking out of this world,
It
Mark.
is amazing.
It's out of this world.
It is amazing.
And that to me, it was worth watching the film.
25 million went.
It's worth watching the film to see that in action, to go, wow, it still looks fucking great.
Yeah. And to me, this film is the standing, shining fucking beacon of a film that shows why practical effects are so much better.
Alley, motherfucking Luya.
Because
practical effects. Because it's really, it's there.
It is there.
And look what you can do.
And
40 years ago, man.
So good. 40 years ago.
I think for me it's got to be one of the best puppets ever made. That, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
It's got to be.
Along with the Alien Queen from Alien 2.
Yeah.
That. Fucking hell.
That. And several of them from the Never-Ending Story.
Nearly all of them,
actually.
Never-Ending Story, yeah, good shout that,
yeah. But what I do want to point out, the Feed Me scene, who was the main technician on that, it was Ryan Henson, who was Jim Henson's son, who was technician on that, and they just got him to come and do it because he was working on Labyrinth at Pinewood Studios. He was working on his dad's film, which was they were sorting stuff at Pinewood Studios.
Interesting.
At the same time, and obviously Frank Oz knew his dad, like works with him a lot, loads. So he just went over and was like, "I'm good. Can you come into it?" And Ryan Henson came out, and for basically the main scene that we remember, the Audrey 2. It's Ryan Henson.
Mate,
and I thought that's it. Yeah. Great puppeteer
Scarily
work.
good, that. Bill Murray improvised all his lines.
Bill Murray did improvise all his lines. But it's a very Bill Murray thing to do. Like, quick.
Yeah.
The film was originally to be produced by Steven Spielberg.
Okay.
And originally to be directed by, do you already know this? Martin Scorsese.
Sure.
Yeah, and he were going to do it.
Really?
And he was going to fucking do it and everything. They left the project relatively early on after a lawsuit from the writer of the 1960s movie, a fella called Charles B. Griffith.
Oh.
But that was the only legal trouble, and it didn't stick. Do you know what I mean? But Scorsese left the project, and so did Spielberg. Right. And so they had to shop around for another person, and they were thinking, who does puppets? Who had been just working with a load of puppetry stuff? Oh, Frank Oz, because he'd just finished Muppets.
And do you know what I've noticed
the
as well?
Muppets Take New York, it just finished.
Do you know what, talking about Frank Oz's directing style and talking about puppets?
Yeah.
I think, have you noticed how low the camera is a lot?
A lot, yes.
It's almost, it's from lower down up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're getting a down, a bottom up view.
Yeah.
Camera's quite low a lot of the time. Doesn't move a lot either.
No, but I think that's very often best for how you have to
film
shoot a puppet. Because
true.
Obviously, usually it's
makes it look fucking great though.
Yeah,
And I think, do you know, I actually a couple of times watching that puppet move, I was like, where's it being held up? Where's it?
Yeah,
because it moves that wildly and freely. Yeah. You're like, wow, it's impressive.
It is so impressive.
40 years, I was fucking impressed with
it. Audrey, because until they got the person who was on Broadway to do it, it was initially going to be played by Cyndi Lauper. Same voice, isn't it? Really, that in New York accent. Do you know what I mean? Initially to be played by Cyndi Lauper.
Okay.
Yeah.
A bit too quirky, I think.
Yeah, but it's a very quick. I could see her possibly being able to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Cast are all right.
The cast are perfectly reasonable.
And again, you know, they do, instead of, I think they've sacrificed the musical cameos for the comedy cameos in this film. That's where the budget's gone. I think they rather went 100%. Either way there for me.
So those are a few facts for you there.
Fun facts. We had listeners.
Fun. Yeah. So here we go then. What what do you think? What are your first thoughts?
Again, my first thing is, right. So let me get this out. It kind of takes the piss out of domestic violence a little bit.
It does a little bit,
but it was 1986.
It
right?
was
Not an excuse.
It's not an excuse.
Not an excuse.
But look, it's not there.
No, I know.
It's not there.
It kind of handles it with a bit of
like ha ha ha.
Yeah, domestic abuse.
Why don't you just leave him? Kind of.
Yeah. Oh, just leave him.
And
not like
it doesn't. It doesn't pass the test that we would.
No. So right. So that's the first thing I noticed. Right. Second thing I noticed.
But we do feel that a lot sometimes with stuff from the mid to early 80s.
We've said this a lot. Haven't we? We've not.
Sometimes we're a bit like.
Listen, guys. I'm not into all this woke shit and this, that, and the other. Right. If you're offended by something, switch it off. Don't listen.
Fair.
Right. And again, let me just make this point. I think we're living in a time now where people think you're being offensive by not agreeing with their opinion. I'm not being offensive. I'm not being offensive to you. I'm not being homophobic. I'm not being racist. I'm not being fucking xenophobic or anything like that. I just don't agree with your opinion.
Yeah, fair.
Not getting serious, guys, on the pod, but
I understand what you're saying. However, there's a certain things where you just think to yourself, yeah, but you're taking the piss out of it a bit there, where you're just like, oh, that's a very light-hearted thing to do, which we wouldn't do it today. No.
I'm saying again, we just it's not there.
It's not there. It doesn't by any means ruin the enjoyment that you can find in this film, but it's
we observed it. I observed it.
Yeah, it's there.
Again, too many songs, and we've said that.
Yeah, I
feel like half the songs are memorable, half of them are forgettable.
Yeah, and also even the one that isn't forgettable, one I didn't need a reprise of Suddenly Seymour. I didn't need. It's the main song of the film.
Yeah.
It's the big love song of the film, which they sing together. But I didn't need a reprise of it for one thing.
Intro song is great.
The intro song is
and all the songs Audrey 2 sings are great.
Yes,
it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a mean green mother, the man is better than bad.
Yeah.
And I noticed as well, they do like all the songs that are sung throughout the film. They're quite R&B, soul-y, whereas Audrey's are very funky, almost James Brownie with attitude.
Yeah. It's very much. Yeah, it's got it has an attitude to it, and it's basically homage to the musical mores of like the late 60s, essentially.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is very obvious
like
because
a hairspray type thing.
They would have been youngsters when that stuff was contemporary, so that's the kind of music that the people who are making this show like. Do you know what I mean? Because it's their generation's young music, innit?
Yeah. But again, though, like you say, them Greek chorus girls, I quite enjoyed them.
Right. Here's what I really liked. I really liked the Greek chorus girls. I think it's a nice introduction into this film. And that they keep coming back, and it's a pretty constant refrain throughout the film. I enjoy that. I do enjoy the songs. The songs themselves are actually really, really good. But like I say, I could do with a few less of them.
Yeah.
And I also, I think that the amount of them packed into the film crowds out the film.
It does, and I think I think maybe because they knew that there's not much going on in the film, we have to put more in.
I think
there's more singing scenes than there is dialogue scenes.
Yeah, which is a very musical thing. If something's a musical, the music needs to be the focus of the film. Otherwise, what's the point? You should have just made a not musical.
Okay,
but. And now we're talking about what kind of musical this is, right? For one, it was very off-Broadway at the time.
Yeah, it even says
Right.
that in the credits at the end. It's like off-Broadway.
Yeah, it was not a Broadway musical. It was off-Broadway. And the reason was we need to, just for a minute, talk about the movie musical as a genre and the death of the movie musicals and how they came back. So, just quickly getting it out there. Basically, you had two people who essentially really brought the movie musical to the stage, and that's essentially Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Yeah.
They'd get, you know what I mean? We're
King
talking
and I
about The
and-
King and I, My Fair Lady, The Sound of Music, right? And its last big hurrah was the 1960s. The late,
Yes.
the mid to late 1960s. We're talking Julie Andrews in Sound of Music and Audrey Hepburn in My Fair Lady. But those films, although those films made money, there were a lot of them that didn't make any money. Famously, things like Doctor Dolittle.
Yeah. You had
Famously.
everyone trying a musical then.
Yeah. And because what they used to do, they used to have this thing called the roadshow, and essentially where it was, you'd put it on in the cinema, but you'd be able to buy a program, you'd be able to basically treat it like a night out at the theatre.
Yeah.
And the whole thing became so expensive, and these films became more and more expensive that
returns.
that some of them absolutely made a whopping ton of money. My Fair Lady made a ton of money. Sound of Music made a ton of money, but there were so many of them. It were basically killing studios, and to an extent, they kicked them in the head. They went out of fashion, and there were several things that went out of fashion that had been very fashionable in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, which were the big historical epics, westerns, and the movie musical, and they all stopped dead in the late 1960s. With basically the death of the original studio system, right? As that went out of the window, all the old type of films of your big westerns, your big historicals, and your big movie musicals went out the window. And the 70s and the 80s, in the 70s there's Cabaret, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and then this, and then that's it, really. It's Blues Brothers, and then this. There's nothing really. And
Grease in the 70s.
Oh yeah, there is Grease, but out of all of those,
Saturday Night Fever. Not a musical.
I'm not. It's not a musical.
Right,
it's a film with music.
One too far, Chris. One too far.
Yeah. It's film with music in it.
Yeah. Not Saturday Night Fever.
But they went so incredibly out of fashion that the only ones that could be made are the clever subversive ones.
Yeah.
I think the only one that's a bit more of a traditional movie musical that made money was Grease. That's the only one. Mm-hmm. It's literally the only one, because Cabaret's a bit naughty, Blues Brothers a bit naughty.
Yeah.
Like this silly, funny, off-Broadway nonsense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Rocky Horror, weird. So basically, they'd completely gone out of fashion, and so I think the mentality of this was, instead of making that traditional movie musical,
it was hitting.
They packed it with the songs. They've thought essentially the studios have lost confidence in making the story for a movie musical. So what they've decided to do is rely totally on the songs and how catchy they are. And so basically
there is a handful of very earwormy catchy songs.
Yeah, exactly. So they've filled it with the catchiest songs that they possibly can, and they've constantly filled it up. Essentially, so
pissed in the pot.
So they don't make a traditional movie musical. so people still come and see it.
See, again, I think that's why they invested so much money, because they thought they were being clever with the puppet and the...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the catchy pop songs, almost like the crossover.
And it is films like this that made Ashman and Menken's name, that essentially in the 90s,
and it looks like a small production, though. It's like literally a street. The only bit, the street in the shop, the dentist.
What I have to say, the sets... brilliant. Like, I really like
100%,
that.
you can tell it's a soundstage, but it's meant to be like it's meant to look like that.
It's meant to look like it's stage
so that puppet
version.
must have cost a fucking ton of money.
I think it must have been at least a third.
Because if you remade that film now, we'll get onto that actually. If you remade this film today,
it'd be CG.
It'd be CG, and you'd have a lot more daylight scenes. You'd have a lot more. Do you know what I mean? You'd see more of the world, and not just on this corner where this shop is and she lives.
I think that would be an incredibly silly idea to do. This musical only works if you can have the conceit that it's a musical, that this is a not real thing. If you start suspending disbelief about it, it's not going to work.
Yeah, okay.
I don't think.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it's very interesting that this came out when it did, and it would just getting to the point where I think people's appetite were getting a little bit whetted again for something that they hadn't had in a long time, which is a musical feast on screen, because we hadn't really had them very long.
No.
For a long time.
No.
So I think that's an interesting...
Grease 2.
The Grease 2. Could get some songs from Grease 2 are bangers, I'm sorry.
Sure.
But they are Cool Rider. But not a good film, but good songs.
Right, so the one thing that got me in this film about what I like, Rick Moranis' character, Seymour, he finds it really, it kills so easily, and I'm like, that's so out of the character you're trying to build.
Yeah.
Bit jarring. I'm not necessarily saying is the tone uneven in this film, because I don't think it is, but I think his character very out of tone.
I think he's
gone from a wet ass to I'm just going to kill him because that's what this thing wants me to do, and I'm going to do it, without really questioning the morality of it.
I think I'm gonna say it now. I think he's the weakest part of the film, because I've got something to say about Audrey. And essentially what I'll say about her, a voice, annoying.
Oh.
Right, but I still don't think it's a bad performance for the simple fact I think her voice is supposed to be annoying.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's supposed to be that really...
She's the 50s thick girl.
Yeah.
She's like the 80s...
Betty Boop. It's Betty Boop.
Yeah. It's like the 80s Airhead Bird, isn't it? Like the bikini and boys, and that's it.
It's it's the 1960s version of that.
Yeah.
It's Betty Boop, essentially, that voice and stuff like poopy doo, like silly.
I'm just a silly
but
girl.
it's meant to be, so I can't really mark her down for her performance.
No.
For doing what she's literally been told to do.
Yeah, all right.
You know what I mean?
She's playing, that's the character,
That's the character. Rick,
she's not workshopped it for weeks beforehand. She's done it on stage.
But she's done it on stage. She's
just gone, I'm doing that. I'm just going to do that.
Yeah. You know what I did there before? I'll do that again.
I'm just doing that.
Rick, on the other hand, Rick Moranis' character, Seymour. Again, I don't know. For one, I feel like I've seen Rick Moranis play this part before, so it's nothing... Ooh, it reminded me of his character in Ghostbusters, which I think if you actually go back and listen, I said was probably the weakest part of Ghostbusters.
He's the daftness.
Yeah,
he's like the butt of the joke character.
I think he's an almost needless character in that, and this is almost like the main character is the needless character from Ghostbusters. So I'm not saying it's a bad performance from Rick Moranis.
No, but he's the gatekeeper. He's the key master.
Yeah, but they could have made the character better just because.
And he turns into a dog.
We're not talking about Ghostbusters.
Oh,
I've referenced it. Like,
I'll move on. I'll move on. Different show.
Yeah, it's a different
show
that.
But yeah, the point you're trying to make is, Mark.
Do you see what I mean?
There's nothing for them much to do character wise.
No,
they're just reading the lines and that's it. And there's no real big. There's no emotional. There's no like character arcs, emotional arcs. There's not that type
I do want to talk about though. What? Steve Martin. I do want.
He's a violent addict cunt. That's what I wrote down.
Right,
I wrote it. Right, greasy violent addict cunt.
That character, mental. But that actor is having oodles of fun. He's coming out there and he's chewed all the scenery.
Oh mate, yeah.
He
can't get enough.
Can't get enough. And I think even though he's in the film for what 10 minutes of it. Literally.
He ends up fucking brown bread. Fed to fucking Audrey too.
But I think he's a good part. Like he's, for me, the second funniest part of the film. The funniest part, I think Bill Murray's the funniest bit in the film. But
I don't know. I think he's seen. He's gone, I'm going to one-up you here, Steve Martin. I'm funnier than you.
Oh, yeah. But he is.
Yeah, all right. Facts. All right, let's just... Bill, he is funny then, right, facts.
Yeah.
But, and obviously he gets more screen time and gets to be a bit more wacky, but Steve Martin...
Yes, I think he's really good in this.
Yeah, he is.
He is really good at it. He's mental.
Kills himself.
In essence.
He kills himself. Literally kills himself.
Yeah. Well, it's a ludicrous scene. And until I watched this film... Well, I watched it years ago, but you forget that he was actually quite a good singer. When he sings his song, his villain song.
The villain song. Because he's okay. Let's put a label on it. He's the villain of the piece.
Yeah,
because he beats her up. He's a bad man.
Yeah, well, Audrey 2's the villain, but
really though, Audrey's aim is
to take over at will.
Oh, I think we need to go on to that actually.
Yes. Right. As we said to you before, there is in fact two endings.
Yes.
To this film, right? And it's
radically different.
It's almost like a video game. There's a good ending and there's a bad ending, right? But I think the good ending.
Do you save Meryl or do you leave her to die?
Meryl.
That's a Metal Gear reference.
Oh yeah, of course. Fucking hell. Sorry.
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid.
We don't really not touch upon gaming, but I'm just.
Yeah, of course.
Metal Gear Solid, you can choose.
Oh, I love that game, and I'm deeply embarrassed that I didn't know what you meant.
See, if you save Meryl, you save her at the end, but if you let her die, you'd save the scientist guy, the other guy, and he's
good point.
And you get on your bike with her or him.
It's a good point.
See,
but right, so basically the good ending, which I actually think is the bad ending.
Which right, go on. I've not seen.
The good ending is essentially he saves her from the. Being eaten by Audrey too.
Right, so this is what I wanted to get into because I don't know where the cut is on this.
It's essentially here where the
So he eat the fucking Audrey too. Fucking tries to swallow her. Tries to swallow Audrey, and then he saves her. Then in my one, she dies in the back alley in his arms, and then he feeds. He feeds.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. He pulls her out,
right?
And they run into the back alley, sing another song.
Shut up.
Yeah, they sing a song.
Fuck off.
Off I will not fuck. They sing a bit.
Oh, but they sing a song while she's dying. She sings a song to him while she's dying.
But they sing a song.
Alive. Oh shit!
And then someone comes and tries to sell to say, "Oh, I'll give you money if you
Like, yeah,
if you let's take cuttings of the plant and we'll sell them on.
So in my one, he's already got a cutting, and he's like, we took cuttings and we've shipped them out to everywhere in America.
He tries to say that he'll give him some money.
So in my one, he's already done that.
Yeah. Who plays the?
I can't remember. John Belushi.
Yeah. He comes and he tries to sell him the thing, and so
right.
They go back in, and he fights a battle with
which happens in mine. And did you notice that when he destroys? And I thought, bringing down the house, literally.
Yeah.
Do you get it? Do you get it?
But what he does, he shocks him with a...
Don't happen in mind, that.
Yeah, he shocks him with a live electric wire. That's right. Because obviously the house is fucked.
Yeah.
Shocks him and it blows up. Right?
R2
blows up.
Right, okay.
In possibly the worst effects in the film. But they'll have had to do that again because they got told that the
test audience went...
The test audience went, no, they want...
With a darker version, yeah.
So they blew him up
right.
in something that it's just like sparkles everywhere. It looks shit.
Right, alright.
Shit. Worst effect in the film.
And is that how it ends?
No, they clearly get married and they walk into they walk into the house that Audrey had been dreaming about
when they have the kids.
And they walk into that house, but then there's a little close up of a tiny little Audrey too. Which sort of like hinting like maybe not everything's perfect, like there's another one, there's a little one.
Right, so
here, and then film ends.
So how mine ends, right? So he fucking eats her, Audrey 2 eats Audrey, he pulls her out, he pulls around the back of the gaff, she sings a song, she fucking dies, he feeds, then he goes back into Audrey 2, feeds Audrey to Audrey 2, right? And then he's like, oh, what have I done? Blah, blah, blah. He goes to the roof, and this guy comes, like John Belushi's character comes to the roof, and he says, we can franchise it. We've took cuttings and blah, 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 and we've sent them all over America. And he's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, it's the new thing for America, and this is going to be like, and it shows all like people rushing to stores buying all these Audrey 2s, right? So he comes down there, he's like, what's the point now? Comes down the ladder, has a fucking scrap with Audrey 2. The fucking house comes down. Audrey 2 eats him.
Yeah.
Then the next thing, it's all out chaos. It turns into a fucking kaiju film. All these Audreys are fucking like hundreds and hundreds of feet tall, just tearing this shit up, mate. It's it turns into a fucking alien invasion film.
Yeah, I have seen.
Yeah, well, you said you watched it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that is a wild.
If you've seen this film and you just think it happened, like has a nice happy ending,
it's literally two different films.
But go watch the other ending because it's mental.
The one that you watch, there is another ending. Whichever ending you watch, the one where they survive or the one where they both die.
Yeah.
Go and search out the other one that you're not watching.
I think that alternate ending,
the dark one that I watched,
is better.
It's classed as the director's cut. It's classed as they did release it in 2012 as a director's cut with the ending that nobody fucking wanted. Like, what the fuck? It's a totally different film then.
I think it's a better ending. However,
mate, have you seen it where there's loads of miniature work and loads of fucking...
It's mental.
It's mental.
But they spent £5 million.
Not surprised.
Not quid, dollars.
Not
on
surprised.
this. They spent $5 million. And it
so there's a fifth of the budget.
It's a fifth of the budget.
Of the ending that they had to scrap.
Yeah, that they had to do away with. Because test audiences. And I can just imagine the fucking moaning cunts sat there were like, oh, I don't write like that.
What do you mean they didn't live?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Fuck off! You shouldn't be allowed to watch films. You shouldn't. The people, the nitpicking, ninnying little fucking fuckers that they get as test audiences. Who do they get? Do they just get a 5-year-old and an old lady? For every film, because whenever I hear about test audiences,
they get a Mary Whitehouse.
Yeah, they get a Mary Whitehouse. I think any film they're gonna get some absolute smackhead.
Retard.
So yeah, some absolute fucking lunatic and a Mary Whitehouse.
Yeah.
And they're, because of course they're just going to say it's shit. And they do this all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, stop putting it to test audiences.
Yeah. Why?
Just you lot, do you think it's a good film? Yeah, then send that out, because I'm sick of fucking these stupid nitpicking wankers going, oh, I don't write like that, they both die. Oh,
well, that's just you then, isn't it?
That's just you.
Just you.
Go away.
Mark has have a look of despair on his face.
I hate them. Absolutely.
I'm with you. I agree. I agree.
Anyway.
But yeah, vastly different film altogether.
Vastly. However, I will give it to the test audience that most musicals tend to end on an uplifting note. For the obvious reason, if you think what a musical is meant to do, when you come out of it, you don't tend to want to get... If you could think of when you come out of theatre, you've watched a stage show, you don't want to feel depressed because all of a sudden you start to think, were it worth it? Do you know what I mean? So usually musicals end on a happier note. However, this is a film. So... And also, the stage show ends like that. That is how the stage show ends, where it takes over the world.
That's it.
Do you know what I mean? They changed this for the film. I think
and that's because of those
the bad ending is actually the good ending.
Yeah, you said that before we started recording. Yeah.
That's what they should have gone with, and fuck the studio. Well, they can't because they're paying for it.
Yeah, but I mean, fuck the test audience for a start.
Yeah, fuck the test audience.
Just go, well, that's what the stage play is. That's what we're adapting.
So what did you...
We've got to do a new ending that isn't in the stage play, and that's not the part of the story because you said so. Yeah, all right, let's do that then. And let's not have $5 million worth of fucking screen time on the screen.
And when you've already spent $5 million...
I know.
5 million big uns. Oh, get fuck off.
Like you say, it's a lot of money back then.
It's a lot of money.
Because it's literally the world being destroyed, like loads of miniature work. Like...
It's War of the Worlds.
It is, the destruction is on screen.
It's mental. Do watch it, listening. Oh, and what else you can also do, write in which ending do you prefer. If you've seen both, which ending do you prefer?
Yeah. And I would recommend you go out, right, so we're getting on to a bit of a fight. Let's go on to final thoughts now.
Alright.
So, I would recommend you go out and seek this film because it's a bit of an oddity. Like I say, it's not really regarded in the same statuses as musicals like the Blues Brothers, or modern musicals, should I say, like Blues Brothers and Rocky Horror, who, like I say, quite subversive to the genre. You do just trying to do something different. For me... I'm just going to start. For me, I'm just going to go in there, right? I probably won't watch it in a rush again. Very interested to watch it for the show. Yeah. I'm glad I did, because that puppet is fucking amazing, mate.
Yeah.
It's excellent. I can't stress how much we enjoy a really good practical effect.
Yeah.
And that 100%. Last version of him, mate, is fucking massive. And that's a puppet being operated.
There's a few of them.
And the way they make the tentacles move is amazing puppet work.
Yeah.
So I would give it a 6. I'm not hating, guys. Again, I'm not into musicals. Don't do them. Not a fan. I'm just not into this. You're either music or a film. Don't fuck about with it. And that's just my personal opinion, you know. But I'd give it a 6 without the puppet, but I'm definitely giving it a tippy toppy high 7. Not like because we do highs and lows, but it is because of the amazing puppet work. It has to add another level for me. But again, I've got a problem. There's too many songs, even though it's a musical, and you agree with me on that. I think there's not much going on in the film. Again, I know those things contribute to my thoughts that I understand why it isn't recognised as, or it's not really spoke about, or it's not one of the films people talk about in the musical sphere, like Blues Brothers, like, you know, Rocky Horror. So I'm going to give it a 7.
Well,
and that's mainly because of the puppet. It's fucking amazing.
I'm going to meet you there and give it a 7 because I have 2 reasons for giving it a 7. One, the visual effects generally are not only very good for the time, except the one bit in the cut that I saw where he blows up. But I can forgive him for that because they literally didn't want to do that, and the studio made them do it. So it's gonna look shit.
Yeah. We'll excuse that.
Yeah, I'll excuse it.
Plus, I've not seen it, so
yeah, the puppetry, so good. If we were basing this, if this were a show about puppets, I'd give it a 10. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
If this was a show about puppets,
I do think it's probably one of the best.
I think it's one of the best
puppets / animatronics ever put on film.
Yeah, I'd get it's
impressive.
up there with the Never-Ending Story for me.
I agree. It's so impressive.
In terms of puppetry. But I think you're right, and I do really like the songs as songs.
Some of the songs are good.
Do you know what I mean?
The songs are hit and miss for me.
So, but I quite like all the songs. But
Bizarre
like
Tattoos are good.
It's dragged down by them being too many of them, and with not a lot going on in the film. It feels the film to me feels bare bones.
Yes.
And on an hour and a half film, that means it's a very bare.
My ending added an extra 20 minutes to it. Mine's an hour and 45.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, because the one I watched, 90 minutes.
I know.
94 minutes.
No, an extra 20 minutes of my ending.
Fucking hell.
An hour and 45 it is. But sorry to interrupt you, go on, finish.
So, I think 7 is a fair... Without that puppet, it's a 6. But,
I agree, yeah.
But...
Fair.
But also it's very influential that the two people that
let's not forget that.
Would go on. They would use this as their
they polished the diamond next, didn't they? They learned to polish it.
Where they were like, we need to do something for the musical, or it's not going to be there. And they found their home at Disney from doing this. So it's significant to me. Oh, I tell you what, we haven't done just quickly. They've been talking about a reboot of this for a while.
They have. So just as recently as March this year, Roger Corman, before he passed, he spoke about producing a movie called Little Shop of Halloween Horrors.
Oh.
And they've got, apparently, they've lined up Joe Dante to direct, who directed Gremlins, The Burbs, and Inner Space.
Interesting.
And that was literally a couple of months ago.
Right. Personally, I don't think they should. I think leave it alone. Leave it alone.
Leave it.
But
leave it.
Yeah, we just wanted to mention
Wait and see.
We'll see.
It might happen, it might not, but there is talk of it. And again, we've a couple of big names involved, like Joe Dante as well.
Yeah.
So, guys, that's been Little Shop of Horrors. Thanks for joining us. We've enjoyed the show as usual.
Yeah, and like I say, write in. Let us know which ending you preferred. Or watch one of the endings. Yeah.
It gives you thoughts and feelings. We always like to keep in touch with you and hear from you. It's really, really good to keep in touch. So yeah, guys, thanks for listening, and it's a goodbye from me.
And me, in a bit, Skip.